From the beginning to the end, you have gone into so much expansion of the accounts of the world cycle. There are branches of the accounts of the body, branches of the relationships of the body, branches of being a soul in bondage to all the different facilities of the body, branches of bondage to all the different types of sinful actions, branches of the suffering of karma. There is so much expansion. So you are now becoming points and putting a full stop to all the expansion. Have you merged all the expansion into the seed? Or is there still some expansion? Those who are ever ready will continue to have unearthly experiences from now. The first thing you will experience is that whilst walking, moving, sitting, and talking, your body will be completely separate from you, the soul, the seed. You will experience being completely separate. Just as you experience your physical body to be completely separate from the clothes you wear, in the same way, your body is a costume of you, the soul. Experience this clearly. I, the soul, am wearing this costume.
So beautiful the way Baba describes all the different branches that we develop. And as he was saying, if you cut them off, they will grow again. That's the problem. And so the Supreme Soul gives us the answer to this. And the answer he's giving us is burn the seed where all those branches have sprung from, one after the other. And this huge list of all the branches that have developed, and they're not serving us. They're taking away from the trunk, and also from the seed. And so the seed needs all those all those negativities that are creating branches that don't help us, make it so difficult for us to get to the truth. The Supreme Soul is teaching us how to overcome that. So instead of wasting our time on trying to sever each branch that has led us away from truth, he says to us, burn the seed. And so that we burn the seed by connecting our thoughts, our attention, our awareness with the Supreme Soul. And the Supreme Soul is so beautifully powerful with all beautiful traits and qualities that we can be charged with all that if we make this connection, if we take our thoughts to the soul world and sit with the Supreme, which we have every right to do as his children. Then the impurities, the things I want to get rid of, the negative traits, are burnt away in that pure love of the Supreme. We are given this as a blessing. We can do it. And the Supreme Soul wants us to put our awareness onto that, do it, and really reap the benefits that come from that. The lightness that the soul experiences as the seed is burnt with love. So beautiful.
To become the practical form means to be that for all times, whereas to have a vision is a temporary thing. A soul who is a practical form never says that he has not had a vision of the soul. Where there is a practical form, there is no need for a vision. Similarly, someone who experiences a practical form of being a soul will say with authority that he doesn't just see the soul, but that he experiences himself to be a soul. Therefore, a soul who has a practical experience of being a soul will continue to experience his form of light whilst walking and moving around. A soul who is equal, that is an ever-ready soul, although being in the corporeal world in a physical body, will constantly use the intellect's power of yoga to experience himself to be with a father, whether in the subtle region or the incorporeal world. In a second, he will become a resident of the subtle region. In a second, he will become a resident of the incorporeal world. And in a second, he will become a karma yogi, living in the corporeal world, playing his part and performing actions.
That's so beautiful, isn't it? That we can live in this world, perform actions, and keep the consciousness and the awareness of being a soul. And that's where the power is, isn't it? And as the divine was telling us, we can stay connected with him, with her, in our thoughts as a soul, and that as a soul, we travel so fast. I can immediately go to the incorporeal world. I can immediately go to the subtle region. I can immediately become aware that I'm playing my role here as a detached observer, as I move this, as I request and send impulses to the body to move and do different things, karma, yoga that I wish to perform, and I can do it all in remembrance of the Supreme Soul, because the soul gets more and more powerful, and the Supreme Soul is always supremely powerful. And so this beautiful connection that can be made, and it all benefits I, the soul.
The soul is wearing a costume, and it was said that the body is like a costume. So there is no difference between this body or a costume of a star or any other physical costume. To be able to experience our home, our true nature, we have to start seeing ourselves separate from the costume. We have to have this practice as often as possible throughout the day. Being separate from the costume of the body. And let us create today attention on 3 steps. 3 steps to become bodiless, to experience our nature, which is of an eternal divine being of light. So first step, I, the soul, am separate from the physical costume. In the same way you are separate from the clothes, you are also separate from the body, you is a soul. That is the first step. And experience that separation. Then the second step, experience your form of light. Experience that you as a soul are like a tiny being of light. radiant, bright, spreading the rays of peace all around you. Experience your own light. And then third step, experience being in the company of the Supreme Mother, the Supreme Father, Supreme Companion, friend. Experience a home, in the home being in that connection of love with the Supreme. Take these 3 steps today, and that will help you to burn the branches that you were describing by being fully immersed in your bodiless reality. You truly are without this huge body. You are like a tiny, tiny point of light. Would you like to suggest the practice, Jasmine? You are muted.
Yes. Well, certainly, as you're saying, to connect with the Supreme Source. And so much just comes from that one practice. You know, the more I can practice more quickly and more easily going to the Supreme Soul, connecting there. Daddy once said that we need to have love for one, being the Supreme Soul, practice introversion and concentration. And if we can do this, then we will definitely be burning our sins. Or maybe sin sounds a bit heavy, but you know, to burn the negativities that have come into the soul. So if I do have love for one, I remember I'm a soul, and I use concentration, which is so important and so slippery these days to have concentration, then that will build a huge resource for me. Shanti.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to share? Then today, love, introversion, and concentration. Let us practice all of this, and we'll meet again tomorrow at the same time. Thank you.
Shanti.